Hi, I'm Brent Peterson. I head up our data security products here at Worldpay, and I'm joined by a few of our solution providers, as well as thought leaders in point-to-point encryption, Rustin and Andy.
Thanks, Brent. Rustin Miles, founder and strategic advisor of Bluefin, have been building P2PE and P2PE solution components since about 2014, and the standard came out in 2013. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. Hi, everyone. I'm Andy Barrett from Coalfire, and I'm our global head of solutions and investigations. I'm also a P2P assessor for what feels like since time began. It's one of the first P2P assessors, and I've been working with the standard since it was put together.
Why do merchants need to think about point-to-point encryption? So, in light of COVID, right, we're seeing a number of retail locations that are closing. We're seeing a shift into digital and shift into card not present payments. So it begs the question of why do we need to invest in P2PE?
We're still seeing no drop off in fraud, and we're still seeing no drop off in compromise of face-to-face retail environments, particularly in North America. Curbside still popular in the hospitality space. Drive-throughs and takeout environment is still very, very prominent. And unfortunately, from my work as a PFI, we're still seeing cases where retail environments have been compromised and full track data has been stolen. So P2P is really the out-of-the-box solution for those kind of environments.
I tell you who's thinking about security every day and getting through into those environments are the hackers. And a lot of folks, merchants and retailers, may have taken their eye off the ball. We don't see it as prominently in the news, a breach a week kind of thing, or gosh, you're looking at 1,000 a year, maybe a few a day. But the fact is that they're still getting in there. And so, the compromise happens sometimes sort of in the dark, and these hackers do not want to get caught, right? So we only find out about a compromise when they get caught. So I can assure you that right now, today, they are trying to get into these retail locations, into these merchants, so that when the lights come back on and the transactions light up, they're there, their malware is there, and they're ready to start compromising data, and they'll just be the breach from next year. So I think now is the time to implement these security technologies, and not take our eye off the ball.
As you can see with some of the data breaches that we see time and time again, that risk really never disappears. It just generally tends to shift and to the most opportune channel, really identifying those vulnerabilities. So as we think about our customers really shifting to digital, they're really thinking about modernizing and adapting, which is really important. But how important is it really for our retailers as they think about modernizing and shifting, that they really should still think about these vulnerabilities? And so, Andy, as an assessor, how important really is it for these retailers to not only start thinking about modernization and adapting, but also thinking about some of these vulnerabilities that are kind of in the new landscape?
Yes, it's really important. And it sounds like a cliche, but at the moment, there's so many things to manage. This could just be yet another thing, just another risk to manage. The challenge we're going to have is there are people who are going to come through this pandemic. They're going to come through all the COVID restrictions, and then they're going to walk into a data breach if they're not still actively managing that customer information. And if they don't protect that and they don't protect the card data, you could potentially walk into kind of data breach liability. You've got the fraud that results from a card data compromise, plus all the potential lawsuits. And certainly in North America, you've got different disclosure requirements in different states. It's a really unusual thing to have to deal with. And so really you want a solution like a point-to-point encryption solution that's an out of the box. A third party has been validated. You can put your confidence in them. You know that the solution is going to work. And as long as you do it the right way, you'll come out with at least one less risk to have to manage.
So point-to-point encryption is absolutely a retail technology, but it's also an important interaction point with our customers and our shoppers. Rustin, how do you feel that point-to-point encryption really contributes to the overall omni-channel experience with our customers?
Sure. Well, as I like to say, fraud doesn't just start out of nothing, right? It comes from a compromise somewhere because data protection, data security technologies like P2PE were not in place, which produces the raw materials that the frauds just take right back in the front door. So it does reduce fraud in that way. Also, when you look across an organization, it's not usually just the one point. You've got back office, you've got contact center, mail order, call center, all these different ways, and keypads and encrypted ways to take those transactions. And even when the swipe or the dip or the tap is down and we're needing to key transactions, point-to-point encryption can still play a part in the overall point of interactions.
Andy, how do you feel that the point-to-point encryption contributes to an outstanding omnichannel experience?
So it's often thought that P2P and Omnichannel couldn't work together, and that's just not true. I think if you think about P2P as the security layer for a seamless consumer experience, that's really should be the strategy. When you look at Omnichannel, it should all be about the consumer experience. We want the consumer to be able to buy anywhere, to be able to refund or return using any channel at any time, any place, potentially on any device. And the retail component should just be entirely secure and using a trusted platform. And the omni-channel component then will just work. The challenge is it's integrating it into legacy solutions where people look at, I need clear text card data to make my own omni-channel solution work. It's just not the case anymore. The modern solutions can provide tokens, they can provide other account references so that you can always find that consumer and manage them through the life of their journey with you.
What should our customers be thinking about, before they reopen in terms of reducing their overall risk?
So bizarrely, COVID has probably helped a little bit now. We've got executives in retailers thinking about safety and hygiene. All we need to do is help change the narrative. So instead of just thinking about the hygiene of the consumers, they're thinking about the safety and the hygiene of their consumer data. And if we use a terrible analogy, like everyone's going to have hand sanitizer everywhere, point-to-point encryption should be the hand sanitizer for that data that we're taking on every transaction.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Rustin, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having us.